my wife's 2008 Dodge Dakota. We were planning to take it out of commission for a little bit to do some body work on it when it cooled off here, but she decided to force my hand a little bit. Somebody decided to stop in the middle of the damn highway to try to make a U-turn, and I'm having trouble finding any parts for it. So I'm screwed, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, she broke the wheel. And it is not drivable in the condition it's in right now. In fact, the door doesn't even really open. I've kind of got a bit of a binding issue going on there. A little bit. I might try to weld this thing back together to get us by for a while until I can find a replacement fender and what have you. But yeah, I broke a big chunk out of the wheel. Thing I'm having the most trouble finding right now is a replacement wheel. Fortunately, she was due for tires, so I don't know. I mean, we've got that going for us. And like I said, the clear coat on this has gone bad, and we've got hail damage, and you know, it was time to get a bunch of work done on this anyway. But yeah, we're having to do it now. Suddenly, unexpectedly. And yeah, well, we really weren't planning for it. I guess we're going to need a headlight too. Actually, I think we already have that headlight. Oops. Oh no, don't scratch the paint. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah. Is this one cooked too? Why it no worky? Chunk. Yeah, so we're missing a bunch of fender pieces. Alright, I looked it up and this is mostly flat. I do need to look at it again to see if there's a ripple there. Okay, so this is a step. Okay, so the body line's along here. This continues up all the way through. I think at this point I need to work on the fender a little bit so I can compare the two. Maybe I can iron this out real quick. I'm probably not going to use this. I think this just needs to go away. So it's just going to be a bitch to deal with. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be a step on this side as well. I'm barely hitting this. All this is just manual planishing. If I had finished my planishing hammer by now, that's definitely what I would be using on this right now. Just brrr, be done with it. And hammering over the hollow spot here actually lets us shrink a little bit. I'm not hitting quite hard enough to do a lot of shrinking, and this panel's in such bad shape it's just kind of flip-flopping anyway. And I do know this is supposed to be mostly flat across here in this section. Alright, I'm going to hold there. So I do think this is supposed to be bent back up, and this is supposed to be in a little bit more. Not entirely sure how well you can see what's going on from this vantage point and lighting. Ugh. Nope, I'm going to have this piece of wood right here. Let's try knocking this out. Well, can you tell that did something? Can I? I do think this top flange is supposed to be mostly flat. I do know we've got a kink in it right here. Ooh. Ooh. Ow! Ugh. This headlight bezel is pokey. Going rubber on rubber. That will definitely take a bunch of test fitting back and forth on the truck. Hey look, an actual auto body tool. Wiggling back and forth mostly to iron out this edge without stretching it. You can see that flattened it out pretty good. Maybe you can. I can't even tell what you're looking at. Maybe you saw that. Guess I'll find out later. It'd be a lot better if I used the left hand. Back to using the sub hand. This is a concave body line just outside the fender well, which is overbent and bent down through the upper crease. This flange is waving to say hello. Gentle, gentle. We don't want to stretch it. I think it's probably getting a little bit too late for that kind of noise now. probably wear some shoes. Too far. It's hard to tell whether there's supposed to be a little lip there or whether that's damage. I don't know. But I think I'm gonna come back to this in the morning. Oh, good morning. I realized a few things this morning. Oh, I need to charge this. Okay, where was I? Right. So I realized a few things this morning. Oh, one, this line is actually supposed to be our body line. Yeah, remember when I said I should probably go look at the other side before I keep hammering, and then kept hammering? This is supposed to be a recess to fit the little flap winglet thing, whatever the hell it's called. So yeah, now I need to put that step back into it, which is also probably why it has such a big crown to it this way. Crap. Also, I realized I don't think the ABS works on my wife's truck, because yeah, I went to the accident site to collect the missing piece, which I was able to find. Return to the scene of the crime here and see a little piece of her truck right there. Skid marks. Got the little wobble where she actually made contact. And I'm out here because I'm trying to find the piece of the fender, because these fenders are about $300 by the time they get shipped to you. Well, I found it. It was across the street over there. I guess it really did get hooked on their bumper. Probably drug it around and dropped it when they turned for their U-turn. And yeah, I didn't really think about it, but there's like skid marks for like 200 yards where she was obviously standing on the brakes. And now that I think about it, I need to check that other tire for flat spots. Whoopsie daisy. I guess maybe we're getting 2 tires this weekend. Yeah, you can see in that video clip, there is no earthly fucking reason to be stopped in the middle of the fucking highway where that fucking person was stopped, unless you're being a dick and trying to make a U-turn on the middle of a busy fucking highway at 5 o'clock in the fucking afternoon. But I digress. Don't need to go on that tangent anymore. I'm already pissed off enough about it as it is. Yeah, this guy fits on here like this. Goes there. Goes this. No. I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'm gonna see if I can straighten this. Cause yeah, I'm a dumbass. Well, eventually I'm gonna have to find a new one of these, but I may try to screw it back onto the fender. Pop it back out, prime it, and then stick it back on until I can find another one. Or maybe not. I may just leave it off until I can find a new one. Sorry about the fan noise. It's too fucking hot in here. I guess it's kind of hard to make it worse than it is now. Now I've got it to where we can do a pretty decent comparison of the two parts. Thinking I might have actually pulled this bead a little bit too deep. So I trust this line a little bit more than I do the line here. So it does look like I've narrowed this, or widened it a little bit too much. I'll need to patch a piece in here. My bead's just not going to be straight, and I'm not going to worry about it any more than I already have. I think that's pretty close. I've got some stretching going on, and I'll probably trim a little bit to deal with that. This edge is probably stretched like hell. Work on this bead detail a little bit, try to put it back in. This panel still has a lot of memory of where that bead is supposed to be, so it's kind of going back into place on its own almost. So our power just went out while I was taking myself a little break. I'm gonna have to sweat out here. At least got some shade up at the truck. I have a body pulling clamp. I'm gonna try sticking that on there, and then I'm going to pull on the back of Sheila over here. We'll see if I can use a come along. Whoop. And if that'll put enough force on this to get this straightened out. So I'm gonna pull to the side first, and then reorient, hook here, and then pull this way. I have to pull it forward now. Actually, I'll try flipping the clamp and then grab it from here. Bigger hammer. All right, I'm not sure how much bigger I want to go with the hammer, but I suppose we'll find out. I also got a bigger dolly. This inner door is like 14 gauge. It is very heavy. Crunchy, crunchy. Yeah, I need to cut this up to there. This stuff in here I'm not worried about, because when we weld it, it's going to suck it all up, and we're going to need filler over this anyway, because I'm not trying to fix this to show car standards or anything. So I did a bunch of tuning up on it. It's pretty well flat all the way across now. At least it's close enough that after I weld it, everything's going to pull tight, and then I'm going to have to Bondo in and cover all of the ugliness. Yeah, as long as this stuff matches up to the door on the car, I'm going to be happy. Obviously, this curve will need to match the door as well, but as long as this matches, these match, I'm going to be good. I also spent a few minutes tuning up on this thing. I still need to make this little piece, and then I'll need to see how it fits to the car. I guess I can fit it on this, see how this sits, or not. Alright, should be close enough now. Try this again. And see how much of a bend there is down here. Makes this way too hot. Hopefully I get some on here. Too late. So I don't know how realistic my goals are for today, but I'm actually going to try to get this in primer. I need to find the mud flap, an inner liner, source, another wheel, and some new bumper parts. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do about all this in the meantime, because it's pretty destroyed. This whole fender is going to need a bit of a skim. There's some whoopies up in here, little low spot there, a little bit of a low here. This fender's already been skimmed. Yeah, so this thing's already been knocked around a few times. I'm going to go ahead and put a skim on this, get it flat, and then that will help reference for finishing the rest of the door. Got a couple little rock chips in here. Some 80 grit on a block. Got some rust encroaching under this old body filler. So, I just realized my dumbass has been hitting the record button on the GoPro with a full memory card. Didn't really miss anything game-changing or worth doing. I am still realistically nowhere near ready for paint or anything like this. But I'm going to stop here because, well, my wife kind of needs to go to work and I'm not going to be able to drive her the rest of the week here. So my plan is I'm going to shoot some epoxy on it, because like I said, we were planning to actually do a respray and fix a bunch of this junk, because the other side is also damaged from a incident with a deer a while ago. I'm gonna hit it with some wax and grease remover. Then I've got a tack cloth I picked up earlier today, along with the new filler that isn't a solid block of nightmares. I may get this in epoxy. In fact, let me back up. I'm sure once I get this in epoxy, I'm going to realize how bad all of this body work actually is, and probably going to end up having to redo almost all of it. Yeah, I'm going to get this fender off. I'm going to paint it separately, like I said, and so I got to get it off to do that. I will this around. Yeah, it doesn't fit right up there. So we definitely still have a lot of adjustment and stuff left to do. Probably should have test fit this, but for some stupid reason, I didn't think it was going to need adjusting. That was obviously very wrong. So it pretty quickly became apparent I wasn't going to be able to actually do this correctly. It was just too far gone, and more so, I just didn't have the time to try to do it. You know, 20 hours trying to fix all the little tiny things wrong with it. I don't think realistically I'm going to be able to make it work. Obviously, I just hacked this corner of the bumper off. It's just too far gone to try to repair it or try to do anything else with it, so off she went. I'm hoping I can find a new fender to just replace this one. The gap along the hood here doesn't quite fit right. Obviously this is all still a bit of a mess. Like I said, this particular style is really hard to find and there is no crossover. I was thinking I might be able to chop the back half off of one of the earlier versions before the facelift. But there's apparently enough that's changed that this stuff doesn't fit anymore either. The door I can make work. The line's still not 100%, and there's still some adjustment to be made there. But that will come when I actually find a good fender to match it to. My epoxy primer apparently went bad. It took about a day and a half for this paint to set up, and it should have been about 30 minutes. Well, it should have been within a couple hours. It should have been completely dry to the touch. But I have a cup where I poured all the excess into, and it's been a couple weeks and it is still not solid. That should have been solid by the next day. In addition to the epoxy itself actually being bad, the number of bugs that we got in it was just atrocious, and that made it pretty obvious that we're not going to be able to spray outside here. We're rural in the middle of the country, and we have lots of farm animals around the place, which brings a lot of bugs. So we're just not going to be able to do this without setting up some kind of makeshift spray booth. All of that paint's going to have to come off, and between having to remove all this paint again and redo the body work and the work that still needed to be done down here to get it to fit the piece that I don't have to fit to it, yeah, we're just going to try to find a new fender. I did do a bunch of front end work on it. We had to do an alignment, put new upper control arms and inner outer ball tie rod ends. They were all due, as well as the tires, which if you saw the little short clip of the flat spot and that other one, yeah, no, the rest of the tire was bad too. We knew that was happening, and we knew that was going to come up pretty soon. But I'll have a video on the front end repair, and yeah, thank you for watching, and hope you'll stick around for the next one.